fabulous dress you have on. I love the
Thank you.
colors.
I felt like I
Green,
needed to go for
beautiful.
the vintage look because you have such a fantastic kind of style.
Well, thank you so much. I think the same about you. You're brilliant. You're
Oh,
very beautiful woman.
thank you. Thank you. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for taking this time to chat with Collider. I'm sure you're very busy promoting your new single. What has been the biggest culture shock for you with this sudden rise to fame?
Wow, yeah. I mean, it is a bit of a culture shock. I mean, I'll be honest, I've become quite the sensation of you know, and it happened quite rapidly. And, for me, I've always known deep in my heart that music has been the one thing in my life that I must pursue, sort of my sacred duty to this earth that I have been lucky enough to be placed on by the powers that be. and and so I've never given up on that. Not as a so much of a you know it's a love, and when you love something that much you do it regardless of outcome and stuff like that. So yeah, it can be a bit polarizing at times to think, wow, all of this attention's great, but the thing about me is I'm looking at everything, I'm watching everyone. And that's part of, I love looking at comments and looking at all these videos and people listening to my song. I mean, I think that it's just wonderful and beautiful. It makes people happy, and it makes me happy, and I don't sleep at all because that's all I think about really is what people are feeling when they're listening to my song. Oh, actually, I don't need to wonder at all because I can just go on TikTok and look at it, and I love TikTok.
I've seen that you have a little bit of a TikTok addiction.
I am absolutely obsessed with it. I think it's the greatest thing ever created. I don't know who's come up with that idea, but whoever did has absolutely hit it. Spot on.
Hey,
right?
I feel like, you can take up so much of your time with it, and that's why it's called TikTok because of a clock.
That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Well, hang on. Is that why they've done that? Is that why they've done that? Is
I don't
because
know, but I
you
feel like
spend so much time on it that it's tick tock like a clock.
Right?
Wow.
I'm sorry for breaking your brain. It just
Well,
came.
I've accumulated a lot of time on that TikTok. I'll say that. I have to write a song about that, probably.
You do. You
I've
do.
constantly got these ideas. Sorry, yeah, go on. I keep interrupting you. I can talk about myself all day. So,
Well, hey, good thing it's an interview with you then. I want to hear
yes.
your thoughts. But
And I'd love to hear more about you too afterwards, if you'd like.
of course, of course. What are you calling your fans? Are they the fantasies?
They are the fantasies, yeah. They are the fantasies. And the thing about a fantasy is that a fantasy is sort of like a dream. It's the improbable or the impossible. You might have heard me say that before. But basically, why I love that and why I've always associated myself and had such a close relationship with the word fantasy is because I'm always up against the impossible. And I've found that in my own life with the hurdles that I've had to jump over in my life with my, family and where I grew up and things like that. And I've been driven by the upward battle, the hero's journey. And that motivates me a lot. I'm very attracted to the underdog. That's why I love James Franco, because all of his characters and movies that I'm obsessed with. James Franco is very much the Renaissance man of the modern day culture. And I'm very inspired by him. I think he's a phenomenal artist. His performances have moved mountains, literally, and have had me on my knees begging for my life.
Which performances are your favorites? I know I have a particular favorite. I love Tristan and Isolde. Love a good heartbreaking historical romance. But what is your
That's phenomenal. Spider-Man, the Green Goblin, with Tobey Maguire. I loved Pineapple Express. But it's the things in between. It's the things in between with James that I'm just fascinated by. It's his big smile. And every time I see him do that smile, and I've never met him before, but I have pictures and stuff in my room that I look at, and I love to see them every day because that brilliant smile, it makes me happy and it makes me smile. So yeah, I mean, I talk about James just because he's also someone. If you look into a bit of his story and where he's come from, he always had this belief in self that I feel I've always had as a young child. I knew I was going to make some kind of difference, and as an older man, although I don't really believe in time like that, I'm the same. I've always been the same, and I always will be the same. But I know that I know that it's my purpose, and now I know that that purpose is really just to be a positive influence in my community, and my community moves. You know,
Mm.
where that's what we do as humans. We interact with more and more people, and hopefully, we have a positive impact.
And you've talked a little bit about your backstory and some of your TikToks about living in a senior living facility, and you've talked a little about your nan. Can you talk about how some of those experiences have kind of shaped where you're going with your music career? Because it's such an interesting backstory.
Yeah, no, I'd be more than happy to. So, basically, my nan, who pretty much raised me, we lived together since I was about 10 or 11 actually, and we were best friends. She was single for a lot of her life. Did have a partner, I think, or two. As the years progressed, but she began to get quite ill. She had dementia, and I became sort of her caregiver for a long time.
Mm.
I would feed her. I would take her to the bathroom. I would do all the things that people who have to do until it became too hard for me, and I wasn't able to actually do that on my own. And so I moved her into this brilliant senior living in Harrogate, and that's where I sort of spent a lot of my time also with her, where she, at that point in time, she was so sick that it didn't really quite resonate with her, but I was able to sort of help facilitate that process for her, and help her sort of fit in. And yeah, the last 3 years of my life before I came to Los Angeles was spent with her. Um, and the reason why I am doing what I'm doing out here is very much because of her inspiration toward my life, and the things that she told me, and she believed in me. And I think it's very important, whoever you are, you have someone who believes in you. Anything is possible. Those fantasies are no longer a fantasy. When you're a child and someone like my nan says, no, you can do that, that actually is possible. You can do that.
Mhm.
Something lights up inside you and you think, yeah, I can. You know what? I think I can do that. And all it takes is one person. And for me, that was my nan. And she was always that person right till the bitter end. And when she passed on, she told me to just go and do it. She said, go and do it. And I've done it.
You have done it. Do you feel like you're passing along that wisdom to your fans now, passing along that fantasy that your nan, gave you?
Yes, I am. I do feel like that. But I'll also remind you that we are all passing on wisdom from our ancestors. We
Mm.
are only having this conversation because what our ancestors have done for us in order to live this life that we've had to live right now. So it's very important to be aware. Do some digging into your past and be aware of your why. Why am I able to be free in this country today? Who has fought for that other than me? Because it's not really about me. It's got nothing to do with me, does it? I mean, if you really think about it, it's got nothing to do with me. It's about the collective. It's about the universal. It's about love.
It is about love. And you have recently said that music is the unspoken language of love. Do you feel like
Yes.
that you have started giving language to love with your music?
Yeah, I'm not the first to say it. You know what I mean? And I know you know that, but all the most impactful artists believe that I believe. All the people that I believe in and love their music and stuff like that. James Franco, I'm sure, believes the same thing. What was the question?
Do you feel like you finally spoken that unspoken language of love with your music? Are you giving it word? Are you giving it
Let
more?
me think about that. Let me think about that. Let me think about
I know
that.
it's a deep question.
Yes, minus the finally, because I think I've been doing it my whole life. If I can speak candidly with you,
Of
Maggie,
course, of course.
um, I think I've been doing it my whole life. I don't think I know how to do anything other than that. If I'm being completely honest with you, that language of love is the language that I was born with, and everyone is born with some language, whether it's music, whether it's journalism, whether it's you know selling pickles. I don't know. It could be whatever it is. If you're called to it and you believe that that is your language, also known as gift, and hopefully someone in your family has nurtured that gift and can say, yes, do that. In a lot of cultures in Thailand, they actually will have altars for children for these gifts. And they will praise these gifts in order to nurture the love of what that child loves. And I think that that's beautiful. I think that's very important. I think that that's we can all learn from things like that because we're very quick as older beings to shut down these small impressional minds that are just gooey and they want to suck everything up. These minds, they just want to suck it all, everything around. And so the environment that we give these young ones is very much, we must be very mindful of that. And that's why the music that I make is very positive and very, it just makes you want to move your body in a sexy way. And to me, that's positive. You
It
know what I
does.
mean?
It
You
does.
can't possibly want to hurt anything when you listen to Mr. Fantasy. And if you do, you should probably, give me a call and I can walk you through a few things.
So your first single is on the Spotify viral 50 chart. You're trending. You're everywhere. Do you have more music up your sleeve for us? Are you working on a whole album?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, listen, it's not like I've just written one song. Do you know
Not
what I
gonna be
mean?
a one hit wonder on us, right?
I have 20 plus years of tunes in my head that I've recorded. I have demos. I have this. There's honestly, it's the question is which one are you going to pick to release next out of your 100,000 songs that you have in your head? I mean, that's the type of man that I am. I'm an excessive beast and I'm an obsessive beast when it comes to that. So, yeah, to answer your question simply, there's so much more music coming. And actually, my next single that is going to come out, I'm not going to give a time thing yet because everyone wants it. Everyone wants a slice.
I know.
So, it's a very, very sexy song. It's very sexy. I love it. And that's all that matters, really.
Does it have the same sort of synth pop style that speaks to the moment that Mr. Fantasy does, or?
It's got a sort of sensual touch that will make you feel like you are dancing on the moon with 1,000 other sexy people, and synths. There might be some synths in there. It's not as heavy synth probably as the Mr. Fantasy single, no. But you'll know what I mean. It's more of a dance track. It's more of a imagine a disco ball in a shiny, colorful room and people dancing everywhere. That's what I think of. Just think about me. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Aside from James Franco, what are some of your other inspirations, some of your other perhaps musical inspirations that you look to?
I love the Isley Brothers. I love Prince. I love Michael Jackson. I
Mm.
love Confunction. I love Earth, Wind and Fire. I love James Brown. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. I love Jimi Hendrix. I love who else do I love? I also love rock music a lot. I've always loved Led Zeppelin. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Pink Floyd. Um, I've loved all the rock bands, in the 70s. They had some tricks up their sleeves. They had magic. They had magic, sometimes dark magic. And I love magic too. I love magic. I love tricks. Um, a Black Sabbath.
Oh, very
Ozzy
nice.
Osbourne, rest in peace. I loved Ozzy so much. Yeah, those are some inspirations for sure. But Mr. Fantasy is very much Mr. Fantasy. Do you know what I mean? And what I'm excited about this music is it's fascinating to see all these young people sort of listening to Mr. Fantasy because you know I think that I've been sort of on this planet for a very long time. My soul feels to be quite old, and I'm very happy that sort of people of the younger generation, that the more youthful spirits inclined to Mr. Fantasy makes me feel good.
I can
That's all.
imagine.
Yeah.
Kind of off of that same kind of train of thought, I love
Yeah.
your entire look, and brand identity is so important for musicians. What are your thoughts on your fantasies dressing up as you for Halloween next month? I've seen people talking about it online.
Oh, they have. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a great idea. I would love to come to one of these parties and, dance it away with everyone. I think that's awesome. I mean, great. Yeah. I mean, it's not something I really think about. I've always sort of worn what I've wanted to wear. And when it comes to fashion, I like to shop at very weird places that you might not expect people to shop at. I like going to farmers markets and stuff like that, and I like sniffing out my clothes, literally sniffing them.
Oh,
Yeah, because you get an impression of the souls that once wore these jackets. When I first bought this jacket, I sniffed it from top to bottom, and I made sure that I knew what I was getting myself into, because you are making a deal with your clothing. And I tend not to wear new or buy new clothing just because it doesn't make me feel very. I feel just a bit yucky. Do you know what I mean? Just a bit yuck, because I don't know why. It just feels like I like to wear things that I know that other people wear, and I feel the energy of that. And sometimes you have to be careful because some of these things have dark energy. I
they
was saying
do.
to my friend, he was trying to buy a belt buckle because he loves all my belt buckles, and I said, "Be careful." Because some of these leather, when you're buying leather, you have to be careful because leather, it's just the nature of what it is, can carry darker sort of stuff. So be careful when you do that, and boots and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But yeah,
I mean, when they say walking a mile in somebody else's shoes, you have to be careful who you're walking with.
it's everything. Nothing is false. Everything we must always be open minded. Um, and that's something that my nan also raised me with too. I think that's why I think like that, is because she never judged anyone. She was never quick to judge a book by its cover. Um, and I think that that's honestly, when we start living like that, we're really free. We're free because we're no longer living by our own eyes. We're able to accept the people around us, and be open to other ideas, which I think is a very important thing for humanity to move forward, and to accept one another, and to have peace, and to have harmony, and to have love and stuff like that. Collaboration.
Oh, I love that you mentioned collaboration. I must have been sending that to you because my very next question was, who is your
Yeah.
dream collab?
Jane Franco.
Does he have a
Yeah.
musical career?
Oh, well, in music, I don't really, there's not anyone really that I'd like to collaborate with musically right now. Right now, I'm very open-minded to, after I finish this project. But right now, I'm very much enthralled at working by myself right now has been such a joy. I'm learning so much about myself. And I love fiddling away with things in the studio, you know what I mean, by myself. And there's no sense of time. I don't have to rely on anyone. I've worked with other people in the past, and I think it really depends on who the person is and the energy and stuff like that, especially when you're making music, because it's a very delicate situation and it's very sensitive. But in terms of collaboration in general, in a creative way, the Renaissance man himself, James Franco, straight from the horse's mouth, I love him. And I think he's the most creative man, other than me, on this planet. And I think that to get an opportunity to work with him on any level, I would just be fascinated with. I would love to pick his brain. I would love to stare at him for hours. I would just look at him.
Maybe he'll see
Yeah.
this
Do
interview
you
and
know
he'll
him?
call you. I
Have
don't,
you
but
ever met him before?
I think he's read Collider before. So maybe he'll see this interview and call you up and make that collab
That would be
happen.
amazing. I wonder if he's heard my song. I often think about that every night. I think, has James Franco heard it, or has anyone played it to him? And I wonder what he thinks. I wonder what his face looked like when he listened to it.
And when he finds out what a big fan of him that you are,
Yeah.
I think it's very exciting for you. Um, is
Yeah.
is your producer Florian working again on any of your upcoming singles or
Flo, yeah,
yeah.
Flo is amazing. I'm glad you brought him up because I love him. He is the French monkey, and he is very much a weird, sort of funky guy. He just exudes groove and funk. And a lot of drummers just are that way. He's a drummer by nature. That's his music instrument of choice. But I met him on actually Instagram because I'd come across his page when I first moved to Los Angeles, and I said, I love your groove, man. You're so groovy. I love you." And he said, "Send me over your stuff. Yeah, I'm willing to work. Send me over your demo and stuff like that." And so I sent him over the demo, and he said, "Mate, I love it." I said, "I know you were gonna love it. Of course you're gonna love it." And I went to a studio, and the rest was history. He's great. I'm very, very grateful to have him in my life also, because he elevates my music to a level of frequency that is takes it to another vibe that I couldn't otherwise do it myself. And that's where collaboration is very good because Flo, his ability with sound to just make it sound juicy and is so good. I just want to suck it. I want to suck it all up, all of it. Yeah.
Such a great visual. Were you disappointed that you weren't invited to the VMAs just 10 days
What's,
ago?
what's the VMAs? What's that?
The music awards, the big one that was just about 10 days ago
For the
for
for
music.
musicians.
Yes, for musicians. I was disappointed. I thought for sure they should have at least had you like walk the red carpet when you were the
Oh, that's
biggest thing.
yeah. No, I don't. I've never heard of that before. I'm not familiar with that, but yeah, I don't really believe in awarding art, if you know what I mean. And I don't mean that in a preposterous sort of plonkerish kind of way. I just mean that I mean, how can you really award art? I mean, do you think whoever created human beings said, "Yeah, you're the best one, and I think you should be the one that I'm going to take forever because you're the best. All the rest, you suck. Everyone else sucks." Because that's how it feels for a lot of people when they lose. They feel like they're not good. So I don't really support that kind of stuff. I mean, listen, have I had the invite? No, but I'm open to all things, as I've said before. But awarding art is not my area of specialty.
I think that's a good philosophy because it creates an interesting dynamic between the artist and the art because they're then trying to win something rather than making something pure.
Yeah. And then it's like, what's the point? Am I doing it for the award? Am I doing it for the recognition? Am I doing it for the validation? Am I doing it for the precipitation? No, I'm doing it for the participation. Keywords, participation. That's all. That's all you really. Well, you do it because you love it. You don't do it because you want to win a bloody award. Now, come on. And that's the problem. That's honestly, I'll tell you what. That's the problem with the culture these days. Is that we're too obsessed with being cool, and being cool means I'm the star, and being cool means I've got the golden medal, and I have to stand on the podium and be the tallest one. I have to be the biggest monkey, and I have to rule you all. That's what being cool is. It's much cooler to be warm, isn't it? It's much cooler to be warm. The great Quincy Jones said that. And I agree with that. I mean, wouldn't it just be refreshing to walk into a room and just have a bunch of people who are friendly to each other, who are being nice to each other, who are just warm human beings? I bet if I went to the VMAs and I stood on that carpet or wherever it is, that there's not one warm soul there because they're all out for something. I'm not sure all of them are like that, and I may be judging them or judging the whole thing. But from my experience with things like that, I haven't felt good. My soul has felt cramped inside of my body when I'm at those things. And it makes me walk back home with my tail in between my legs and think, what am I doing? What am I doing? Is what I'm doing even good? I feel like I'm making a mistake. That's not how an artist needs to feel. And we're all artists because we're all
No.
human beings.
That is very true. And I think it's so interesting that people keep wanting to be like, who's the real Mr. Fantasy? I was talking with my coworker before this interview, and he was like, I've heard he's Daniel Day-Lewis, that like you're secretly Daniel
Yeah.
Day-Lewis preparing for a new role now that you're out of retirement. But how does it make you feel that people keep trying to look beyond who you actually are?
Empathy, compassion. Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, God, you talk about a star.
Right.
And just coming back off the conversation of what I was talking about before, I mean, there's someone who likes to create work um, that is going to live on and be eternal. And part of the ingredient to create things like that is that the man is not looking for recognition. He lives in a hole for a month, 2 months, 3 months, for a year. He lives in a hole in the ground. I don't know where he is. No one knows where he is. Why? He's probably reading a book, learning how to play his next character, riding a tractor. I have to learn how to ride a tractor in this next movie. I'm going to study it for a whole year, and I'm going to live in the ground with the rodents and stuff like that. I think he has a family and stuff like that, so he's probably not living with rats and stuff. But he's probably got his family down there in the hole with him. Um, but it's called Maggie. It's called integrity. And it's called compromise. Are we going to compromise for our integrity? And that's what we must open our eyes to. And that's what we must be aware of right now in the dark ages, because we're living in the dark ages.
There There's a song title idea for you right there. Talking about us living
Yeah,
in.
well, I'm glad you're recording it. Can you send it back to me? Because I love watching all my stuff afterwards over and over on repeat.
Oh, of
Just kidding.
course. You don't have to worry about that. But I do want to thank you for taking this time. This ended up running longer than I expected, but it was so great. You have so many.
I love it.
People.
I love talking to you. Do you know what I mean? You have this energy that just, I feel, gets the best out of people. Do you know what I mean? That's probably why you are so good at what you do. And that's why you've come so far doing what you're doing, because you have an energy that is saying, I'm inviting you to be able to share whatever you want. And I feel very unjudged by you. I feel very free to speak freely with you. So thank you for that very, very much. And your last name is Lovett. Have you noticed that? I'm sure you have.
I noticed it once and then like I kind of forgot about it.
That's great because, you know, if someone ever asks you if you like cookies or something, you say, oh, yeah, Maggie, love it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If anyone ever asks you if you like something, you go, oh, yeah, Maggie, love that. Maggie, love it.
Yep. I definitely thrived in the era of Tumblr where we were talking like that. Like, I love it. Yep. Gotta love it.
Now, do you have TikTok? I'm just going to write down your username. Just so I can check the TikTok. I like watching people's
Let me make sure because I have various different names that I use.
I would love to grab that so I can have a little peruse. And
it is just Maggie Lovett.
Maggie Lovett. Oh, that's easy to remember.
Right?
I don't have to write that down.
On Instagram, it's the Maggie Lovett.
The Maggie Lovett.
Yes, had to make sure. I am like one of two out there in the world, so I just had to make sure that I was the one.
You've been blessed with. You've already won the jackpot because your name. You came out of the womb, and your name is Maggie Lovett. So you're already, you're already winning in life.
I am.
Great. Maggie, thank you so much.